Orleans. Yeah, hey, yo, boy, you better be up, right, Dr. White now? Huh?
We up.
Man, Dr. White, Dr. White, OT, Early Bird, Darwin on the box. Look, be careful if you're out there. The weather is, man, when I first got on the interstate, Doc, hope was coming down. I couldn't hardly see.
Me either. And then the crazy thing coming from the West Bank, there's about 5 fire trucks on the interstate. There's a bad accident up there. So like right before the Slidell Claiborne.
On the side of that. It was just starting to clear it up.
Yeah.
But guys, we apologize for being a little late. You know, we love to be on time for y'all. But streets were a little flooded, but we made it. And just like we made it, we want y'all to make it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I saw you yesterday. Shout out to New Orleans United Front for their monthly town hall meeting.
I watch you do your thing.
You know, featuring the independent police monitor, Miss Stella
I watch you do your thing. I actually, you know, of course I have to follow it because of what I do. But I learned a couple of extra things to consider.
Yeah.
And that, because one of the things that I had was really aware of was that partial compliance and then coming out of the consent decree. That's
where a lot of my questions came from.
And you, first of all, you did a good job.
Thank you.
Those were questions that even for someone who's has a depth of knowledge there, those were questions that helped me understand different levels of compliance. And especially, I had already researched that there were cities that may have been 80,
somewhat
sometimes 90% compliance, but
and still when it's a sustainment,
but here, depending on the areas and in the critical areas around domestic violence and how the police department handles that, of course, you'd have to know the history to know that we have really, really lagged in that particular area.
Yeah, we missed the mark, yes.
Yeah, so good job. So,
thank you.
Because I was always one that if you let Seattle out for partial compliance, then, and then first of all, thank you to Ms. Cement.
Yes.
The independent
yes.
monitor.
She did her very best to answer the questions very thoughtfully, thoroughly, with the information she had and what she can control. Because learning in the meeting, there's just some things that are outside of her control. Like there were some questions around the PCABs with the community advisory boards. That's outside of her scope and her range. That is those are issues and concerns more suited for our mayor. And so that I learned that as well. But again, shout out to the New Orleans United Front. Those meetings are always so informative every month.
And Mr. Baptiste, yourself, and Mr. Parker, Ms. Alicia, and others. It was a good forum to learn. The other thing that I liked that Monitors went over was, $14 million. And, you know, in some cases, the monitors are really the only ones doing well.
Right.
You know, because they get to bill hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yes.
That could be going to critical programs. So, but there has to be a balance. You know, there has to be compliance. And as someone, I'm a lot more open now to 100% compliance.
Yes.
But
I'm glad you were there. That's the meaningful dialogue we have to have. Because simply because you're a leader in the city doesn't mean you know every single thing. So going to those meetings can kind of spark something and make you see a different perspective of it.
Yeah, and I want to thank you. I also want to thank Mr. Baptiste, aka Noonie Man, because he really he was like, OT, you know, come and check it out.
A lot of y'all were in that room because of Noonie Man. That's how we got the chief of police there. She wasn't slated to be there.
You know, and I guess he had a sense of that as much as I think I may know about it.
Yeah.
It would be important to me to learn some other stuff, and I did.
Yes, well, good. It was good to see you there. I think it was well attended. People were coming in the entire time.
Yeah,
it was well attended, and so the victims actually were able to take the stage and speak. Those folk who felt like they've had interactions with the NOPD that have not necessarily been the best, they were able to get up there and voice their concerns and bring it to the attention of the independent police monitor. So that was a very heavy section of the evening, but it was worth it to hear from the victims.
You know, and that's why I tell people when people say, "Man, I'm tired of meeting." No, there ain't nothing wrong with meeting. I mean, it could be fellowship, and sometimes you might get together and may not have nothing to say, but it's just the atmosphere which you manifest and good people being in the room. So I'm never opposed. Now, is it frustrating?
Yeah.
If you continue getting together and the same problem persists? But I'm never opposed to getting in a room with a bunch of people trying to make a difference,
Well, that's why I wanted to also tip my hat to Chief Kirkpatrick. She had a heavy day yesterday dealing with the violence that occurred over the weekend, and she still made time to show up to a community meeting. And then she was called out of the community meeting because there was an urgent matter she needed to attend to. So, I mean, her team did very well, managing her time and having her maximize it as best she could. But she did have to leave.
Yeah, we had
unfortunately
the press conference earlier about what they call it, the mass shooting, and I'm glad. And first of all, I want to thank everyone who reached out to me to thank me for kind of clarifying some of the issues, and I almost didn't make the press conference. So I always tell people God doesn't make any mistakes. But yeah, I mean, some of the press was trying to make it seem like the Mother's Day shooting, the Bunny Friend shooting, and this particular shooting was all a series connected.
So what did we say yesterday? What did we talk about? The point that a friend of mine made on social media is right. If you have a platform and you're culturally relevant to this community, you have to be very mindful of the energy you put out into the atmosphere, because they will connect violence to the culture, and then you look up and you have no culture.
You have no culture.
And so, what's if you're going to talk about it, then talk about it robustly. But don't always just talk just when it's negative. There was 9 times has met over and over and over without incident.
It was.
And it's one of the largest, if not the largest, second line that we have here. And so when violence happens, yes, it's unfortunate. Yes, you want to hold people accountable, but you don't beat the horse as if violence is synonymous with the culture, because that's disingenuous.
Well, I'm going to say this, and it has to stop, right? The media has to stop painting with a broad brush. Anytime an individual in our community does something, or there's an incident in our community, stop painting with a broad brush.
But we also don't talk enough about individuals who commit crimes in our community who are not of our community. That happens.
But that's part of the broad brush.
Yes, that happens.
How do you're standing next to someone who does something wrong. That's not on you.
Yes. Nor is it on the organizers
that is absolutely,
of an event.
That is absolutely correct.
Because here's the thing. If the second line crews decide that they want to do this and be invite only, then y'all going to be in an uproar. Because then they can manage who comes. And, you know what I mean? Like they can have something indoors and it's just for the folk there. But they want it to be a community event.
You and I talked about it yesterday. And I've had some continued conversations. And I think it's a really good direction to go. We need to talk about education around our events, more education around the culture.
Yes.
And conditioning people to say, hey, look, whatever your problems is.
Keep it away from here. This is sacred ground. Yeah. Keep it away from here. It is sacred ground. There are certain things, again, like I said yesterday, you will not even attempt to do on Congo Square because it's sacred ground. There's an understanding there already. But it's up to us to educate the kids in the communities that come up under us, because they are so detached from why we even second line in the first place. They don't even understand its history, because if you did, guns have no place there. Violence has no place there. And so we have to get better about that. But the accountability and the onus, to me, of platforms such as WBOK and any other platform that is supposed to censor Black experiences, we have to be very careful and very mindful. Accountability is necessary, but we're going to be robust in our accountability. You can't just single out the negative and discard all of the positive that happens, because then it makes crime and violence synonymous with who we are and what we bring to the table.
It was the other point that I made, and I want to thank all of the officers who thanked me. Some people were alluding to the fact, playing politics with the shooting, about bringing in the Louisiana State Police to investigate, and they don't have a homicide division or investigative division for homicide. That's not their constitutional job. So here we're celebrating NOPD, right?
Yeah.
In terms of crime reduction, but then we're slapping them in the face, saying that their homicide unit isn't qualified to investigate this incident. So, and in many cases, that's why I hate politics, and it's because, man, you sometimes you just don't do that, right?
Yeah,
you leave it alone.
Yeah,
politics
is a tricky bag. It's a tricky bag. And so you never, I don't think you ever quite know who the players are, what game they're playing. because it can change like the weather.
With social media, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Ghost accounts and everything. But back to the meeting yesterday, and it was well attended, and man, very, very helpful. So I will tell people, right, if the United Front, if Dr. Wyatt, if they are hosting an event on issues for our city, then the speakers are very qualified.
Yes.
They were very current, and then the issues were there to enlighten us. So take advantage of it. We see those notices. Well, one of the reasons why I came also to support you.
Oh, thank you.
And then,
appreciate that.
And then Mr. Batiste. And
yeah.
Your questions were.
Well, the New Orleans United Front they're always excited about my questions because they don't give them to me. I just kind of create them based on the conversations that are happening. So they always give me my kudos for the questions, but that's because you have to be attentive when you're moderating something so that you're listening and you're building from what you heard. Well, that's what I was doing there.
There were three things you brought up that, I think we're like-minded, so I would have walked down that road too. And so it was just interesting to me and enlightening to me. All right, cost, and what does it mean for folk who don't understand how much it costs us? What is partial compliance?
Yes.
Right. And if they allow folk to exit consent decrees for partial compliance, what were the reasons?
Yes.
And then what the part she brought up that was brilliant, and I'm on high-five you in the studio,
Thank you.
Was what are those outstanding issues?
Yes.
Right? And are they important enough that even if you're close, those issues are so important to the community that we cannot grant you 100%.
Because if they were important enough to immortalize them in a document, then how do you discard them simply because you've made progress over here? Then what about the issues over there?
Well, kudos for that. We're going to take a break, guys. We got a great show lined up. We're going to talk to Leroy Brown, Ecosystem Development Lead at OHUB, Climate Tech Startup Challenge. It's also our Policing Matters series. We talked about the police chief last night at the meeting, United Front meeting. She'll be with us, and Ali King and United Healthcare National Diabetes Month, man. Something we really need to stay on top of right here on WBOK, 12:30 a.m. The station we talking about all day long. And whose station is it?
Our station.
It's Dr. Wyatt and OT station. Yeah, we claim it. We'll be back after the break.
Hey everybody, it's Graylin Bryant Banks.
And Kimber White Dupree.
From the front porch, y'all. You know how we do. Every Monday is Moving Monday.
And Tuesday is Trivia Tuesday.
And y'all know we have nothing but bad cheering coming through here on Wednesday.
But stick with us. On Thursday, we travel.
That's right. And Friday's Free Your Mind Friday, so get your brass up.
Something on your mind? Want to get it off your chest?
Holla at your people. WBOK 1230 AM, the station you listen to
all day long.
Good morning and happy Tuesday. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News, and here's a look at today's headlines. First up, neutral ground parking is allowed in New Orleans due to heavy rain moving through the area. Just a reminder, though, if you do park on the neutral ground, you can't block streetcar tracks, roads, or sidewalks. Parking restrictions go back into effect at noon today. Then the New Orleans Police Department is investigating a deadly shooting in Central City. Investigators say a man was shot and killed just after 4 this morning on Loyola Avenue near Harmony Street. No other information has been released at this time. And in the city's French Quarter, the New Orleans Fire Department is investigating what caused an overnight fire on Bourbon Street. Officials say the blaze sparked near the popular club Bourbon Heat. We're told that fire is now under control, and again, there is no word on a cause just yet. Finally, we are learning new information about the mass shooting that happened Sunday during the 9-time second line. Family members have identified the two men who died as 21-year-old Rayshawn Carter and 19-year-old Malachi Jackson, who were an uncle and nephew. 11 others were hurt but are in stable condition, according to police. Right now, no arrests have been made. And that's a look at today's headlines. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News. Have a great day.
NOLA Public Schools' main round enrollment for kindergarten through 12th grade is now open. With 73 schools available through the NOLA Public Schools Common Application Process, or NCAP, finding the right school fit for your family is easier than ever. List up to 12 choices to maximize your chances and apply by January 24th. We're all in, and we hope you are too. Apply today at enrollnolaps.com. That's enrollnolaps.com.
Welcome to Chemical of the Month, a service of the community scientist and Rise St. James. This month, we're focusing on lead, a heavy metal that's dense, soft, and poses serious health risks. In Cancer Alley, lead exposure from industrial emissions or contaminated soil can significantly increase cancer risks and other health problems. Stay informed and protect your health. For more information, visit risestjames.org.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
Join Inspire NOLA Charter Schools, Freddie King, Hancock Whitney, Six War Steppers, and more for 2 NOLA Love Drive-Thru Turkey and Ham giveaways. On Tuesday, November 26th, the first giveaway begins at 9 a.m. in Algiers at Alice Hart Charter School. And the second giveaway begins at 2 p.m. in historic Treme at the Mahalia Jackson Theater. Receive a free turkey or ham and food items while supplies last. We'll see you there. Learn more at inspirenolaschools.org.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
Dr. Wyatt, Nyron on the box. Be careful if you're out there, man. The weather, really. And then when you get that little slick, kind of sleety kind of rain, be even more careful, right? So we want everybody to make it where they're headed, like we made it to the studio. Oh, and our guest has arrived, Mr. Leroy Brown, the ecosystem developer at OHUB, the Opportunity Hub and Greater New Orleans Inc. startup NOLA SNN have come together to launch a $100,000 plus climate startup challenge on November the 21st. And I'll say this, that November the 21st at the CAC, Contemporary Arts Center, from 6 to 9. That's 900 Camp Street. That's $100,000 plus climate tech startup challenge. Good, Mr. Brown, welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. So for our listening audience, who is Leroy Brown? What is OHUB and this startup challenge?
So let's start with what is OHUB. OHUB was something that was conceived about 13 years ago by our co-founders, Rodney and Shantira Sampson. And they built it during that time of the big tech boom in the Atlanta area to kind of help get a more diverse population, get more black folks involved with technology. After that, let's swing forward a little bit up until 2023, and the Greater New Orleans Inc. Organization brought us in to kind of help with the diversity of the energy sector, right? So as OHUB moved to the New Orleans space, then that's when I came in. And I came in as the ecosystem development lead because, you know, New Orleans is a community and it gives me the opportunity to kind of go around and connect all the dots to try to help founders and folks that are coming from this technology space make sure they get the resources and the connections that they need.
Okay, well, so we started there, but Leroy Brown, so for folk who may not know.
Yeah, that's fine. Oh, so, my bad. All right, then. So we started there. So who is Leroy Brown? Man, Leroy Brown, I came down back in 1987 to go to school at Tulane University and played football there, man. Had a chance to really, you know, I was raised in Shreveport, but I say I grew up here in New Orleans.
Just as long as I've known you, it's been in New Orleans.
Yeah, as long as you know me, I've been here in New Orleans, man. So, yeah, and we've had a chance to kind of cross paths on different things. But yeah, man, now in the space of being able to build an ecosystem that's going to help founders to get their ideas. And
so what got you involved in tech, Leroy? What was it? I mean, from football to to tech? What made that? How did that link start? What had that interest start?
So I think the link for all of us, and more so for tech, let's think about climate tech. Mm-hmm. And I think that link kind of all started for us back in the day when we used to clean our Christmas trees up and send them to the right, because we send them to the coast to protect the coast. So when you start thinking about climate tech, we're still doing things now, with using more technology to protect the coast, but also using technology to protect our water systems, to help with infrastructure, all the different things that that we're challenged with here with hurricanes and natural disasters.
And one of the focuses that I think we love about what you're trying to do, first of all, congratulations and much success, is empowering Black founders and African American startups. That niche there. Yeah. What we know, and we've talked about it here on the Good Morning Show, is that African Americans graduate at 9 or 10% in tech, but only employed about 4% or less. So even young men and women who are going to school to take advantage of the digital age and AI in the background, very rarely are there employment opportunities. So you guys are kind of help say, hey, look, maybe we can bypass employment to actually start up your own business, correct?
Well, yeah, man. I think that, once I got there and started looking in this community, man, you'd be surprised. There are a lot more founders who are already in that space of looking for opportunity. I tell people, whatever we give attention to, we grow. We grow musicians, we grow athletes, and we 100% can grow new energy and technology founders as well. So we do have a lot of folks here that are interested. I think the biggest part about supporting Black founders and supporting any founders, really, man, is being able to give them the resources and the path that they need to get their programs either looked at, invested in, what's the next step. Because for a lot of these folks, this is their first venture out into the business piece. So I love the fact that they're super creative and they're coming up with really good ideas and things that can help. But now is the time for us to be able to connect them to the resources that can help them scale to the next level.
So how do you see this funding helping to build a foundation for long-term, multi-generational wealth creation for these founders and their communities?
So when you think about it, man, imagine that you're someone who has a project or an idea. Being able to take this investment of $100,000, right, and then take that as a startup and then map your path to whatever it is. If it's more customer research, if it's getting your prototype, whatever it is that funding can help support you do, now you get to a space of I can grow and scale my business after this type of investment. So, and then at that point, we're also trying to get you connected to customers right here in the state, folks who are doing water projects or folks who are doing solar projects or people who are doing wind projects. So when you're, I think they call it a black and gold unicorn, right? And that's when you have one of those companies exit with $1 billion evaluation. And we've had one. So if we can, and that's my mission, to find a black and gold unicorn. If we're able to find a black and gold unicorn and we exit at $1 billion based on the technology that they're using, that's going to create some generational wealth.
So how do you plan to create a more inclusive venture ecosystem in Louisiana, particularly for diverse entrepreneurs and innovators in the climate tech space?
I think first of all, what's funny about being inclusive, I think first of all, you have to be culturally sensitive, man. Like a lot of our founders, yeah, man, I'm looking for Black founders, but I also understand I'm also looking for underserved founders as well. Now, in this space, the way we make it more inclusive is we have to go out and create events and do different things to make our founders feel welcome, to also let them know that the resources that they're looking for are available, and then when we get them to those resources, that they're able to capitalize on it.
Most of the world's new billionaires and millionaires have created that. Mm-hmm. Most of the new millionaires or the very few billionaires in our American community have not come from tech. Mm-hmm. Why is that? Especially because we know that for the last 20 years, African Americans have been studying tech. They've been graduating in tech. Mm-hmm. What has been the missing piece in terms of creating and taking advantage of economic opportunity for African Americans?
I do believe we probably do have definitely more Black folks working in tech, but it's when it comes to a founder or someone, say, let me talk about in terms of small business. Right. Say a small business owner being able to get the resources that they need to take it to the next level.
Access to capital.
Right. Access to capital. That is it. So what happens is, from an ecosystem development perspective, it's important for us to pull our investing VCs, our venture capitalists that are here in the city, pull them together and give them an opportunity. And that's what the pitch competition is really about. Give them an opportunity to see 5 of our founders on display, and we will have a judging piece in order for us to give out our investment of $100,000. But we also want those venture capitalists now to have access to those founders.
I like the focus, Dr. Wyatt, and you and I have talked about climate change and the effects on our natural topography and what's happening with the earth right now, especially with natural disasters. I just participated in a national discussion about water and the challenge and municipal challenges in dealing with water moving forward. Just because you see water doesn't mean you have access to it, and just because there is water doesn't mean it's a potable or sanitary source. More people die because of the lack of access to a proper water source in all the battles in the world. Talk about specifically, especially given climate change, saltwater intrusion, old systems. I think that's brilliant to focus on that area here.
Well, yeah, man. I mean, obviously, we got some work to do infrastructure-wise, but the cool thing is I think that there is some investments that are being made in the infrastructure. Now, beyond that, I think that the other part is cool. Like you said, saltwater intrusion. We have a founder who actually has built filters that help to, like we had to, at one point,
desalinate?
Right, to help desalinate the water, man. Like, so that's a pretty cool project. We have one who builds false reefs, like the artificial reefs, that can help as protection as well, man. Like, you know, and back to the concept of what we said earlier. Our earliest form of being introduced to this was sending Christmas trees to the coast. Yeah. And I know anybody in my age group is pretty familiar with that piece.
Yeah.
So
put your tree out front when Christmas is.
So right. So we got technology now that reads the shoreline, that can tell you how much you're losing, how it's being reshaped, what needs to be put there, and all these different things. So, the opportunity for us this Thursday is to put more people in front of the folks that can invest in them.
So this Thursday at Contemporary Arts Center from 6 to 9. That's 900 camp. And it's $100,000 plus startup challenge.
Yeah, which takes me to my next question. Yeah. How do you select the startups that will participate in the challenge? And what criteria are most important to you in the selection process?
So I think if you look at it, we've actually taken about 150 people through either a one-day startup to determine if they have a good idea, if they have a hobby. And then we have another part what we call our growth scale workshop or our Climate Tech Boot Camp. And in the Climate Tech Boot Camp, we're more specific about taking them all the way through the process of getting them trained up. So what you can come to us as early as someone who just has a concept or an idea. You may be a great fit for one of our one-day startups. If you're local and if you're here, we want you involved anyway. If you're a founder and you think you just have a good idea, sign up for our boot camp. Come to a couple of our workshops to kind of get you started and just kind of help you get a better understanding of what it's going to take to really launch your project.
And I've heard people say that, especially here, especially under the global climate leadership piece for our area and the focus on climate resilience, is that if we don't develop some expertise here, then there's a chance we can't live here, right?
Yeah.
If you can't protect the coast, if
yeah.
you can't drink the water,
yeah.
if you can't pump it out, if you can't manage it, then you can't stay.
Yeah. I work with my man Sage Michael Paulette.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out, brother.
Shout out, yeah, brother Sage. He always talks about our relationship with water. That we need to work on our relationship with water, like we're surrounded by it. So yeah, man, being able for us to be able to come up with solutions and problem solve around, be it filtration or be it, do we need barriers, or being able to problem solve around how do we save more coastline, all of that stuff is going to take a group effort. Like even right now, we talk about population decline, right? We have more jobs and more opportunities than we really have people for in this moment. So I'm encouraging everyone, even if you have a child right now that is interested in technology or that's interested in a STEM even, hey man, make sure they get encouragement in that space and look for opportunities at our 2-year colleges.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you that. So
Yeah.
Where do you get that education? I had a conversation the other day. About 2 years ago, we had a gentleman on who was talking about coding and finding kids for coding. And there were jobs out there for 18 and 19-year-olds that make $60,000 and $70,000 a year and just start up coding and understanding how to do it. But here we are walking around, and when we look at the unemployment stats, especially in this area, for young black men and young black women, for young black men, it's off the charts. Mm-hmm. And many young black women are starting up in the hospitality industry, not in coding and in tech. So first of all, where do you start to get this type of knowledge and training?
Right.
And then where should we be starting?
Man, look, so it's funny. This is what's cool about being in the ecosystem development piece, because I've had a chance to kind of go around and visit everyone. I mean, you'd be surprised, man. Like, I think that if you look at our 2-year colleges, you know, be it Nunez or be it Delgado, Sidney Collier, man. You know, all those guys right now have workforce development programs, and some of that is going to be technology based. Urban League has a cool little cybersecurity certification that they're getting people up to, you know, helping people get up to speed up on cybersecurity. Your universities, man, like Xavier, they have a great computer science program, which is also going to lead you into cybersecurity and also back to the tech space as well.
Kimmy Thomas, a young thought leader.
IGL Foundation.
Which she's working on in terms of this night school concept.
Yes.
She is unbelievable. I mean, it has to happen at some point. So there's some things.
And you got that, and you got Dr. Calvin Mackey with what he's doing with
STEM.
what he's doing with STEM, man. And even, you know, Great New Orleans Inc. also has a STEM program as well. So you have a lot of people working together to capture the imaginations of those students who are interested in that STEM, in that technology space. I'm just encouraging everyone to look for their entry point, right? Especially when we talk about workforce development, because they're another one of our ecosystem partners, Operation Spark. They do a great boot camp, and Operation Spark is one of those places that you could do 2 years of Operation Spark. I'm sure they can find you some kind of financial aid or assistance to make sure that price is kept low. And the way that's set up now, you go from there, you can actually go to Tulane School of Professional Advancement and continue your technology journey.
So let's stay with access to capital.
Sure.
It is the greatest challenge, especially for African American startups. Even if they get money to start up, many have trouble getting money to stay up. So what venues, where do you direct someone? Okay, they don't win the $100,000 plus climate startup challenge, but they want to start up. They want to take a look at getting in AI, and maybe looking at areas of reverse osmosis. How do you deal with water, extracting stuff from water, dealing with the coast? Where would you tell them to go to take especially for some resources?
Okay, so let's think about it in two forms. Let's take somebody who has a product and that they didn't win the concept. They didn't win, but they got a product.
Yeah.
One of the things that we do is in the top 10, top 5 for sure. We continue to work with them within our ecosystem to see if there's.
They didn't win the money, but that doesn't mean they're cast aside.
No, they're not cast aside. It's
They
more
have
so
a good concept.
Yeah, it's about looking for a fit. We've had 3 of our founders come say if they're in cohort 1, they've came back through a New Orleans cohort and then they won before, right? A lot of it's just giving them exposure and getting them exposure to our community as well.
So the event on the 21st, what role do you see this event playing in positioning New Orleans as a global leader in climate tech innovation?
Well, because we have some real problems that we've been dealing with for a minute. I think one of the ways that it puts us at the forefront is it shows the creativity of our New Orleans community. This cohort had over 25% folks from the New Orleans community and about 35% from the Gulf Coast region. So you also see a collaboration that's taking place as well. So what you do see in our state currently is our universities, our EDOs, the powers that be, coming together and being able to look for the solutions that we need to answer the challenges that we have, and we're investing in it. And then also from there, we're looking to continue to include everyone's concept. We need the diversity of ideas. Every study will show you that the more diverse the problem solving is, the more likely you're going to have a great solution.
We're talking to Mr. Leroy Brown. He is the Ecosystems Development Leader for OHUB, Opportunity Hub, and GNO Inc.'s startup Noir have come together to launch a $100,000 plus climate tech startup challenge November 21st right here in New Orleans at the CAC, Contemporary Arts Center. That's from 6 to 9 at 900 Camp Street. Anything you want to add before we end this segment and before we take the chief at the top of the hour?
I definitely think, man, anybody who can, if this Thursday, make time to come out. You can register for our event on.
How do they reach out to you?
You can reach out and register at the shop, THE shop SHOP .ohub OHUB.AT. You can reach out there. I'm available there. And that is actually our app that you can kind of sign up on. I'm inside of the app. A lot of our founders are inside the app as well. But if you have any interest at all, if you're curious at all, man, I suggest that you definitely come. And we'll also have people that can answer questions if you're trying to figure out, what should my child be interested in at this particular point in time? Like, what type of technology you need to see?
Yeah, I'm excited. $100,000 on the table.
No doubt about it, man.
We have so much creative energy around this city.
Yeah, thank you. Hopefully, follow up. Maybe we'll come back and talk about who the winners were.
Yeah.
What was their product?
Definitely.
Why did they win? That with Mr. Leroy Brown, who's the Ecosystem Development Leader at OHUB, Opportunity Hub, and their challenge this Thursday, the 21st, from 6 to 9 at the Contemporary Arts Center at 900 Camp. Don't miss it, guys. WBOK 1230 a.m.
What New Orleans is talking about.
Whose station?
Our station.
It's our station. We'll be back after the break.
This is your news update for WBOK 1230 AM from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
The WDSU First Warning Weather Impact Day continues this morning as heavy rain also continues. Watch out for ponding and street flooding. Rain moves out before noon, then expect a breezy day with highs in the low 80s. Near seasonal winds day with highs in the low 70s, staying dry with cooler temperatures the rest of the week. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Metropolitan Human Services District wants to remind you that treatment is effective and everyone can recover. If you are looking for a recovery program and you live in the Orleans, St. Bernard, or Plaquemines Parish, visit mhsdla.org or call 504-568-3130. Recovery is possible, and MHSD is here to help. Metropolitan Human Services District, where we change lives.
Keep up with NOLA Public Schools through Education Elevation. Join Superintendent Dr. Avis Williams monthly as she shares district updates, celebrates schools, scholars, and more. Tune in every fourth Wednesday at 11:30 a.m.
The National World War II Museum, located in the Warehouse District of New Orleans. The National World War II Museum tells the story of America's experience in the war that changed the world, why it was fought, how it was won, and what it means today. Visit them online at www.nationalww2museum.org for time tickets and safety information.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana companies through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about what the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation does, please visit www.jazzandheritage.org.
Welcome to Liberty Bank and Trust, where your financial journey transforms communities. Since 1972, our customized banking solutions power your dreams and fuel your community growth. Every dollar you invest with us circles back to empower more people, ensuring opportunities for generations. Join us at Liberty Bank. Together, we empower possibility. Visit libertybank.net to start banking with purpose. Liberty Bank, there's freedom here.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
We are back. Thank you, Leroy Brown, the ecosystem development leader at OHUB, climate change and startups. You know, it's good to see some more movement, especially around digital economic inclusion and efforts like that.
Yeah.
We have a lot of brilliant tech minds, not just people like Leroy Brown or Dr. Calvin Mackey, many of the others, but we have some folk, who I know my founder, JC, man, works at the Pentagon in the defense, man. Sits in
The
that
two
little
young
room.
ladies, from, what is that? Is the St. Mary's?
Yes, the St. Mary's.
Yeah, the
That's
two
right.
young ladies from St. They continue breaking ceilings.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They've done something just recently. They've discovered something. So I mean, the New Orleans is right with talent and creativity. And oftentimes the answer to a lot of the questions, they are the solution.
Yeah, we can cook your gumbo. Do the second line, make your costume, and help you figure out how to get to Mars.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
and
of
if you don't stay on our good side, we could do a whole lot of other things too.
We're gonna leave that.
That's the New Orleans I'm waiting on to stand up, so they could stand up to all these visitors who think they have all the answers about our ills and how to put things together for us. We can do it for ourselves, but we have to first be empowered to do so and have the opportunity.
Yeah, but it's good to see so much though that we deal with here. I'm saying has to happen, and you think about, man, why isn't it happening in our school system? You know, why don't we have more vocational training? Why don't we have more access to coding and AI? Why aren't we focusing on developing and training our babies at an early age? Hey, look, they can. The one thing I know about being an older man with young kids now, and watching Ollie from the first time he picked up my phone when he was a year and a half.
It's like he already knew what he was doing. They know how to slide it up. They know how to go. So it was like it was in absolutely. Like I don't know what it is, but you know the answer to that is vocational skills and learning how to do things that don't necessarily require post-secondary schooling is tantamount to financial freedom, wealth building. And they want to close the doors to that because if you allow our children access, they're going to master it, and they're going to master it very quickly. And that's not necessarily what the powers that be want.
That's what my father used to say, Dr. White. He used to say, look, I don't want nobody cutting no corners for my kids. I don't want nobody lowering the bar. Just give them what they need to get around the corner.
These children will blow your mind if you actually allow them.
Give them what we need.
If you actually allow them to be in their fullness, because not all children learn the same. Right. You know, paper, pencil, book, that doesn't work for everybody. I've seen children who you could show something to one time, no directions, and they could build it for you. I need the directions. I need and I need the pictures, all of that. That's just not my ministry. But I've seen children put things together simply from what it looks like on the box. That's talent and skill that you don't necessarily need a classroom to teach you. But we've cut those pathways off to so many of our kids, and then we wonder why they're so bored with the traditional way we do school or so detached from it. You don't even want to go to school because there's nothing there for you.
Right.
So for me, you have to open up the imagination of all of our children and teach them in the way in which they learn.
Say that again. Open up
the imaginations of all of our children. Because these kids think on different levels. There's layers to this. The way I think may not be the way he thinks, but I'm teaching from the way I think. So it's hindering him in a way. That's why so many of our boys, particularly black boys, are shuffled into special education services, because you have a teacher that doesn't really know how to guide them and teach them and experience them in a way that works for them. And so when your way doesn't work, clearly it's on the child and not on my limited skill set.
Man, that's a heavy piece, because I remember my first real mentoring relationship. I was fortunate enough, I tell folk all the time, Roland Lombard, Joyce Mumford.
Yeah.
People who took an interest in me. My dad, Sam and Cooney, older kids. Coach Melvin Howard, folk used to come get us and bring us to the park, with Victory baseball camp. But I remember my first experience when I started mentoring the Old Boys to Men program. And it was a young man out to Cali who married. We wound up living with us for a while. He's like, he's more than a mentee now. He's like a nephew, a family member.
Yeah.
It's been 20 plus years. And he was, doing so poorly in school, right? He was almost 5'11", 6 feet in the 8th grade.
Yeah.
260 pounds, big dude, out to Calio, right? Menacing. And we picked each other. Because he reminded me of my younger brother in a way. Smart, but street.
Yeah.
0.40. Mr. Barnett said, hey, hopefully you can do something with him, because I'm not going to, given his attitude, we're not going to be able to keep him here. And he's an imposing figure, right? 0.40 GPA. Graduated number 7 in his class.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with his ability to learn.
Most of the time it's not. It has absolutely.
So when you said open up
the imagination of all of our children, because then you will see they can. That's why I don't believe in this tiered education we have and this one way of doing things, because that might not be the way it works for all children.
Right.
If you could give me a math problem and I can work it and my answer comes out to be the answer you're looking for, then how are you going to tell me how to do it? Why? Why are you going to box me into a method that doesn't work for me? Like, they've literally changed the way you do mathematics, and we just allowed it to happen. Like, if the problem is solved and the answer is the answer you're seeking, then who are you to tell me that my method is wrong?
Right.
There's something really weird about that. I can remember being a young girl. Yeah, I can remember being a young girl, and my auntie Linnell, she's in Dallas now, but when we were all here pre-Katrina, there was an essay contest at the church, and the topic was the hand that picks cotton now picks the president. I will never forget it. that was over 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And I won that essay competition simply because my auntie kept telling me I could write. She kept saying it. Yeah. Girl, you can write. Like, you write stuff that people, and I was a kid, and I heard her saying it, and I heard her saying it, but I'm like, okay. And it wasn't until I became older and became an educator that I understood what words of affirmation means to children. Because you believe in my ability to write, that encourages me to write. Right. You believe in my ability to build, I'm going to build. Our kids don't have folk who believe in their abilities to do things that don't require a textbook or a worksheet, or something that they saw at a workshop. Our kids are not a monolith. They all learn differently. You should give them the space to do that.
Open up the imagination.
Yes.
And I noticed you didn't say anything about ABCs or standard education. Just open up.
Just open it up. And then you'll be able to see, and you'll learn from them. I'm teaching right now at Xavier University, and I'm in a course where my students push my mind all the time just by their perspective.
Right.
Because I see it this way, because that's my lived experience. That's encouraging me to see it that way. But then if you add your perspective to the mix, I'm like, oh, I didn't think about it that way. People push your thinking when you allow yourself the space to open up your mind to varying perspectives.
Well, guys, we're going to go to break, and when we come back, our Policing Matters segment with and she's been talking about being in the news a lot lately.
Yeah.
Chief Kirkpatrick, but also some breaking news right here.
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. Wyatt and I talked about how can we get the community together, especially around culture, bring law enforcement, culture bears, talk about systems. What do we do moving forward? And breaking news, I was able to secure the city council chamber tomorrow for 5 o'clock, where we're going to bring the culture community, law enforcement, and many from our community to talk about how do we solve this issue.
Yes.
Not blame the culture.
Nope.
Not blame the community. Not blame organizations for what a few folk may do.
Right.
But how do we come up with a better system of managing, protecting our culture, but also having our tradition? And so that meeting will be tomorrow at 5 o'clock in the city council chamber, hosted by me, Oliver Thomas, and of course, Dr. Wyatt will be there participating with us, guys. So we were able to pull it off.
Yes.
And we got it done, Doc.
Absolutely.
When we come back after the break, our Chief of Police, Chief Kirkpatrick, Policing Matters. That segment on WBOK, 12:30 a.m.
Well, New Orleans is always talking
whose
about
station?
our station.
Yes, it is our station.
WBOK 1230 AM New Orleans. Home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. Pennsylvania Senate race between Democratic Senator Bob Casey and Republican David McCormick is tight, with McCormick slightly ahead. The state Supreme Court ruled that counties must stop counting mail-in ballots without a correct handwritten date on the return envelope. Trump ally Steve Bannon's trial is set for February 25th. He faces charges of money laundering and conspiracy related to his role in We Build the Wall, an organization that raised millions to privately build a wall on the U.S. southern border during Trump's first term. A group of people are now safe after being suspended in the air on a ride at Knott's Berry Farm in California. The parkgoers were on the Soul Spin ride when it came to a stop yesterday afternoon due to technical difficulties. And the Texans claim a dominant victory over the Cowboys on Monday Night Football. Houston crushed Dallas 34-10 in a Lone Star State showdown at AT&T Stadium. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
New Schools for New Orleans, along with Allstate Sugar Bowl and Entergy New Orleans, would like to send a huge congratulations to our class of 2024 New Orleans Excellence in Teaching Award honorees. This year, we had 90 Teachers of the Year from each public school in New Orleans. Each of them was recognized at our annual gala, where we had over 350 attendees. We're excited to also share that each honoree is receiving a $1,000 classroom grant. Thank you for everything you do, teachers.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
We are back in advance. The top of the hour. When I say the top of the hour, y'all figure that out, right? The Good Morning Show. Which hour is it? It's 1 minute past the top of the hour. And Dr. Wyatt and I are here, and as always, right? Yes, the bad part of the rain has stopped. You got a little drizzle, but that's that slick rain. We want you to be careful. Like we made it to the studio, even though we were a little late. The chief made it to the show. She's on time. We want y'all to be safe. So if you're late, I'm a little secret between Dr. Wyatt and I. If you're late, rushing ain't gonna get you there on time.
Not at all.
Might get you in an accident.
Yep.
Right. It might make you later. So just take your time and be safe, guys.
Can't beat the GPS. You know, it's gonna get there when you get there.
And I always say, my auntie would say, ain't no about a doubt it, right? But back in our monthly series, Policing Matters, Chief Ann Kirkpatrick, welcome back to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning, and good morning, everyone listening.
And as always, how are you? How you doing? How's things going?
You know, thank you for that. I know we're coming on holiday seasons, and people, this is family time, and I think I've shared with the community. I also have elderly parents and family. I do not have my family of my own, but I'm planning to go see them, and I'm looking forward to it. And I hope everyone else are able to be with friends and family and have a wonderful, safe holiday.
Say go see them, see them where?
Well, I grew up in Memphis, and so my parents live in Memphis, and that's where I would be going. And I have a sibling there, and I have siblings in Atlanta.
Memphis and Atlanta and New Orleans. That's quite the gumbo.
Yeah, it is gumbo, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cities of the South?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
That's a show, Olive.
Yeah.
But there's truly nowhere like New Orleans. And I remember
that's a bell.
It's not like the South. I mean,
Yes.
it's so unique, and that has proven true, and I've enjoyed every moment of it.
We tell that to everybody that comes here, right?
Yeah.
There's no place like this place.
It's no place.
Well, we different.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
In a positive way.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
We are one of the most foundational historical cultures, I think, in the world.
Yes.
This little gloriously grimy, wonderful place.
I think this is the blueprint for culture.
It is.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Hey, look, that's why so many people want to come
Absolutely.
and experience it. So, Chief, usually when you've come, fortunately, the last few years, it's been about successes and tracking the numbers and eventually leading the nation.
Yes.
In every major category of crime.
In every major category.
But the last few days
Yeah.
have been a little challenging.
It is.
You haven't been in the news talking about our success, but you've been in the news talking about the challenges that continue that help create the success.
Right. It is a challenge, and everyone also knows that 2 days ago we had a mass shooting, 13 people total, injured by gunfire, 2 deaths. And unfortunately, we had a homicide this morning. Our numbers are still, if you speak in terms of numbers, and I will, each and every time when I reference a number, I want people to know that I am mindful that that number actually represents someone. It's a person. It's people we're talking about. There are people grieving. But for conversation of understanding, we use numbers. So I'm very sorry that there are open wounds and
Still
grief
30,
going on.
38% reduction in
It was
homicide,
still.
though.
So still the numbers are a 38% reduction, even with this tragedy. Our numbers last year, we were at 178, I believe, someone right in that frame. We're at 112 today, which also when we speak in numbers, it means that there's 60 plus more people who are living today than they would have last year. So that's another way of just kind of understanding there are more people living. And also reduction on non-fatal shootings, just like the 11 who were injured. When we look at a comparison number, there are almost 60% who have not been hurt as compared to last year. So we still are on track for successful year in terms of numbers with great reduction. But even one life lost, one person injured, it is one too many. And so my goal will always be to get to, as much as possible, a safe community for people. If you're safe, you thrive in every capacity of life.
So, in light of the recent spikes in violent crime, how do you plan to balance proactive policing with ensuring that police tactics remain respectful of community members' rights and civil liberties?
It is a core value of mine personally that you are not policing fairly if you violate the Constitution. And I think that we have shown that both exist. You can police correctly and stay within ethics and stay within the constitutional boundaries of our powers. Our powers are not unlimited. They are to be kept in check. And I happen to be a true believer in those powers. I would like for our strategies to be more about crime prevention than just the ability to catch someone once the crime has occurred. The harm has already occurred. If it's all about just arresting, and that's really not where it should be holistic.
Yeah, I want to stay there because crime prevention isn't just about once someone commits an act and then the criminal justice system comes in to play. You've consistently talked about prevention and on the front end. So let's talk about that in terms of strategies. What are some of those things, right, that have contributed to this? Because without the prevention, you really haven't affected the root causes. So some things have had to happen on the front end that have led to this 30, almost 40% reduction.
Right. So I think it is a different mindset that people like me and police departments like ours used to be years ago culturally, because I've been in policing for 42 years. It used to be my role as a police officer is just to enforce. Search, catch, arrest. That was the mindset. The mindset wasn't, I wasn't hired to be a social worker. That has completely changed. Yes, policing today and the mindset of this culture of our police department is, yeah, we do play more of a role than just enforcement. And so the strategy, though, needs to be more a partnership with the community. Like yesterday in this mass shooting, thousands of people are out there. Someone knew something. Someone knew something before it happened. And so the community has a role to play in the prevention as well. We're coming up to the holiday season. People shopping, leaving packages in their car. It's such an inviting opportunity for someone to break into your car. So you also have a role to play in crime prevention. So we need to have more outreach and partnership with that community to say, help us prevent, police ourselves. You two hold each other accountable. So it's circuitous, it's partnership.
One of the most contentious parts of the conversation, and it's not new. I remember several years ago, the incident between the police department and Mardi Gras Indians, where we had to have a special meeting. We'll have another special meeting tomorrow at 5 o'clock to bring everyone together to talk about how we have solutions. But you've been real careful in challenging the press and many others in terms of blaming the culture. How important is it to you that our press, that our tourism leaders and our business leaders, that the community understand that you can't blame the culture, because that's what makes us New Orleans?
Correct. It's not about the culture, and that's the wrong question. The culture is wonderful. The culture needs to be honored. Are there ways that we can work together? And I saw that you were pulling a meeting together for us to talk about. Could we talk about how long a second line is? Not the culture of the second line, but could we work towards certain things that together would not impact the culture, but make the events safer? And we have some give and take about what we could do, but to honor the culture and not disrupt culture. But there are things that strategically we could do that would make it safer, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Absolutely.
And that's what tomorrow is about, not a blame. I will not accept anyone on our side with a blaming. This is not culture. This is the wrong question to point to culture. Don't you agree?
I absolutely agree. That's the point that we were making this morning. We have to be very mindful. Absolutely, 2 days. Absolutely, when this incident happened, we have to be very mindful not to make the talk about violence and crime synonymous with the culture of New Orleans.
Culture. That's a wrong.
Yeah, it's a fallacy.
Wrong-headed.
It's disingenuous. It's not true. It's inaccurate.
It is. That is an inaccurate.
Yes.
That is the wrong-headed understanding. This is not about the culture. It's about some strategies we could work on that makes the whole event safe, because we want the culture to remain.
So can you speak to any recent initiatives that have successfully improved collaboration between the NOPD and local communities, especially in high crime neighborhoods?
Yes, I think, I'm going to go back to you, Councilmember Thomas, and your community you represent, and primarily New Orleans East. I thought about doing it this morning, but I just didn't think I would have time to be able to, and on the radio it's kind of hard. I was going to show you some mapping, visual. I'm a visual person. I like to see the maps, and you can so clearly see the results between less shootings, less homicide, that type of thing in New Orleans East. Those strategies do involve the collaboration and with the community, but in New Orleans East, in that district, I put a pilot program there where I gave an extra patrol team that overlapped, that we know has made a difference in the crime there. Y'all, presence matters. And the community wants to see presence and response times dramatically drop.
Captain DeLarge has been unbelievable. He's like an extra patrol.
Unbelievable. And those are the type of strategies in communities. Right. There's also a balance. You never want to flood a community with the police so that you've lost your balance of, now, are you over-policing a community, right? And that is something I've heard in other cities, that now you have almost made it like an occupied force when you put so many police there. It's an issue of balance. Community wants police presence. They want to be served. They want to know the police are there, but they don't want to be over-policed. And those are just those soft touches of tactics that I've been around a long time. I think I can understand where those balances are.
So what are your top priorities as chief of the NOPD to improve public safety and reduce crime in the city?
Okay. So I have, for 2025, 5 goals. And the first 3 were the same as last year, and to roll it over. So I don't care wherever I am or however long I police, but the number one goal of any superintendent, any chief of police, is crime. Now, what I focused on last year was gun violence, because New Orleans was plagued with the gun violence. So that will still remain, but we'll be doing more focus on drug. Wherever you have drugs, you're going to have guns for the most part, right? So there'll be some more initiatives associated with that drug enforcement, open drug markets, things like that. Within the crime, I want to see our patrol officers do more traffic stops, and they have done an amazingly good job just this year alone. So to increase that, it's hard to do traffic enforcement when an officer is running call to call to call to call on a 911 call.
The solve rates have gone up too.
Solve rates, and that's where community plays a role with Crime Stoppers, talking to us, giving us that information. So within that strategy, and frankly, there's one too, shoplifting is just not only a problem here, it's retail theft nationwide. And that impacts business. And when businesses close, like we talked about before, it's holistic. If you have businesses literally closing in communities, then if you have to take 2 buses to go do your groceries, that impacts community. So shoplifting matters, because businesses will shut down if they're being constantly having their merchandise stolen. So it has to be addressed.
We're having our Policing Matters conversation. She's been one of our contributors since day one. It's not shied away from her partnership here with Equity Media, this little black radio station, and Dr. Wyatt and I. Chief Kirkpatrick, I haven't asked you this question before, but I've thought about it. I've touched on it in terms of your labor force, the men and women. We've talked about how many, but I was just listening to you. I was just compelled to ask you this question: is there some concern moving forward, right? And because I know that you're a thinker, you think about stuff. Is there some concern within you moving forward that because of the success, people may be comfortable with the size of the force now, and you're still trying to get people to understand, no, you would like to have a few hundred more officers?
You know, that, and as a council member, you know, that's usually a question a council will ask, because you hold the money back, right? You do. You hold the money back. And you should. That's how the business of government works. You are the business leaders on money for how government works. And it's a fair question. I hear it with, okay, well, if you've had these successes with this number of officers, why would you ask for more? So my answer to you is, could you imagine what we could do if we did have more? We could restore our PAL program. We could do more with our youth. I could have more school resource officers. We could do more traffic enforcement. We could do a lot more based on what the community wants. And so, yes, we've shown successes with what we have, but could you imagine what we could? Could you imagine your successes beyond what you're experiencing now if I had the resources. So I will say this, the mayor, the council have been open arms, open bag with, yes, chief, you can build this department. You haven't said no. It's just a matter of getting the people. It's not no.
Your relationship with the business community and the press, I look at headlines, right? And I've learned in this business you don't read the good articles or the bad articles because if you start reading your press, that can be an issue. But there was one headline, Dr. Wyatt, that said, "Popular chief down," and and it's like, well, hold on a second. So one thing happened, and maybe you're not popular.
Oh I haven't seen that headline. Yeah. I actually try not to because it does. I think anyone who's normal, at least, I don't need the downer for the day. You don't want to. There's one thing about being able to accept criticism, but I don't need just a kick in the teeth all the time, and I don't. So I'm one of those people who don't read.
My point that,
I don't
you've been
need
around
that.
this game long enough for the setup, right?
And,
Popular chief,
and if you're trying to be popular, you really shouldn't be a chief. Now, I am a people person. I do like people. I want people to. I'd like to be likable, but I want to be very clear with you and with this community. Yes, I would love to be liked, but I will tell you what, I'd rather be respected more than anything. Likabilities come and go. I can make one decision, make you really mad. Get over it. But I will not compromise to be liked.
Yeah.
It feels good to be liked,
you
right?
You speak in my language.
But as I have talked and trained future leaders in law enforcement around this country, I have challenged them. Now, being Attila the Hun is not going to get you respected either.
Right.
But if you're trying to be liked, you will be a puppet of the moment. I will not be your puppet. It's not happening. I make decisions that make you mad. So I will still make a decision. I'm making it for the right reasons as I understand them. Fair is not always equality. Fair is equitable. And you take people in context. And I will and can make tough decisions. And if you're mad, you're mad. I've never been a parent, but I remember being mad and not liking my mom and dad today. But tomorrow I like them. So if you're trying to be popular, don't be a chief of police. You'll sell out each and every time.
So here's my question. You spoke a little bit earlier about the overpresence of police.
Yeah.
It feels like an occupation rather than safety.
Correct.
So can you speak to, because we've talked on WBOK about the presence of state troopers in certain communities that we've not seen them before. I know I've seen them all up and through on St. Bernard. I've not seen that before.
Yeah.
But some of the residents in New Orleans East feels like that's an occupation of state troopers there.
Right.
Is there a partnership between the state troopers and NOPD? Is your understanding that they're there for a specific reason?
We are in partnership. So let's begin with the partnership thing.
Okay.
And it is because of staffing issues. Okay. So there are things that I know the community would like to see enforcement of that we do not have the staffing to be able to go do. Let me just give you a simple example. We get a lot of complaints associated with like golf carts or speeding or traffic. We simply, NOP, do not have the staff, right, to be able to restore a lot of designated traffic officers. LSP comes in and they start enforcing some traffic.
Well, especially
things
in
like that.
New Orleans, these people running red lights have almost cost people their lives, have cost people.
Exactly.
And they don't have a brake tag, they don't have a license plate, and they're running people over.
So they're actually trying to partner with us to do the things that the community says that they want done, but I can't get there because I don't have the staff to get you there. So that's the partnership.
Okay.
But I can understand. I mean, everything's a balance of how you look at things and how you assign meaning to things. Is it an over-occupation or is it a presence of safety?
So
it's how you assign the meaning to it.
Is there a system of governance there, or protocol there.
Yeah.
Right, because my point would be, excuse me, your presence isn't the issue, but we were talking earlier about community policing, respecting people's civil liberties and rights.
Right.
Are they still, are the troopers operating in the same vein as
good.
NOPD?
Okay, and the answer is no.
Okay.
In the sense of policy, and they're not subject to the reforms of the consent decree. But they're policing constitutionally like we're policing.
You get a chance to talk to them?
Sure. We talk to them. Yeah, we meet with them. We on a regular basis. We have very good relationships. They're policing constitutionally. They're policing ethically. And so, but are they under they're not under my command, but we are like-minded. Law enforcement, no matter where you are, I don't care if you're JP or you're Memphis police or you're California, Oakland police. Policing should be constitutional and ethical, wherever you serve.
One of your strengths is administratively deployment, using what you have. I think it's evident that you've been brilliant. Put me on the beach and I'll figure out how to do something with the sand. But technology has been important. We worked in the past with a young man who I'll never forget. They were expecting some stuff in Algiers, and he was using technology and cameras. He was brilliant. The FBI said he was one of the best at it. A guy named Chad Cockerham.
Yeah.
In being able to put the cameras together, use surveillance to prevent what part of that do we still have someone doing that, and what
absolutely.
What role does that play?
Yeah, we have
especially in crowd control.
So we have a real-time crime center, which is where our camera systems are. That is fully staffed. So we will put people in those roles who do the intelligence at times in that seat. So it's not occupied by just one particular person. You can always, we have a team. That's what our violent crime abatement intelligence team is all about. The VCATE is what you hear the term.
Right.
So if one person is out, one particular person who typically looks at those cameras and do intelligence, we always have someone else who can go in too. You never want to vest any one particular assignment with one person. You always want to have your duplicate, right? So yes, we do have someone up there watching, but there's more than just one person up there.
So to the point we were talking about with the LSP and NOPD, is there a written agreement between those two agencies?
No, we do not have
no written agreement.
We operate with understanding of their role and our role.
And then my last question would be, we were talking about your priorities, and the very first priority you talked about carried over from your last list, which was crime, particularly gun violence.
Yes.
Is there any study or any data that tells us or informs us about where these guns are coming from?
Yes. Okay. So we actually trace whenever we get a gun from a crime scene, we call it a crime gun. So crime guns are actually, we can do the ballistics on that gun. Okay. They can be traced all the way back to the manufacturer, and we can trail the point of sale. Did that gun get purchased for the first time, let's say in Houston? But that's really what the ATF does, and we are in partnership. Okay. It's federal. We do our ballistics. People may not realize, but every time we have a shell casing that's left behind, like in the shooting the other day, that shell casing is like a fingerprint.
Yeah.
And that can be processed, and we can trace that bullet to the responsible gun.
Chief, we got a few minutes left. And of course, first of all, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
For this relationship. It's not only been important, I think it's helped in terms of your popularity, right?
I hope I'm popular by the end of the day, but right now I might be in the tank.
Our listening audience appreciates, especially some of the clarity and knowing how you think. But there's something I witnessed at the press conference that since you've been here, you've not just talked about your tenure. You've used the word sustainability.
Yeah.
And you say it a lot. You say, I want it to be when I'm not here.
Right.
I want it to be beyond
correct
this particular administration. The press did something yesterday. It was like they almost tried to roll all of the mass shootings into one. And of course, I gave them historical perspective on none of them were related. They were years, decades apart. But just that conversation in terms of scaring people, right? How important is the role that the press play, and not just sensationalizing crime, but having the real facts, and sometimes waiting for the real facts before they, especially in a town that's so heavily on tourism, right? Yeah. How important? What is the role they play?
Again, I'm a purist in understanding what's the fundamental. Why do we have free press? Why do we have the media? And they should be similar to what we're doing. They should be seeking what's the truth of the matter. Facts alone, standing alone, do not lead to truth. Facts have to be in context for you to get to the truth of the matter, because you can take a fact and assign a whole lot of narratives to the same fact. So that's why I use the example that a fact has to be put into the context of a situation to get to the truth of the matter. That's what the purpose of the court is for. The media, they should wait till they have all the facts before the narrative is spun.
Thank you. Line number one, Miss Janet. Before the chief leaves, Miss Janet, you're on with Chief Kirkpatrick.
Good morning, Councilman
Good
Thomas,
morning. Bless you.
Dr. Wise, and
Good morning.
Chief Kirkpatrick.
Good morning.
Chief Kirkpatrick, tell me what crime prevention means to you.
Thank you. What does crime prevention mean to you?
Oh, yes,
Thank
I
you, Ms.
understand.
Janet. Great
Yes,
question.
excellent. Crime prevention is creating environments and communities where crime is not engaged. In other words, that, if we give holistic approaches to our children such that they have opportunity for school and after school activities and community, and they're prospering, them, if given the choice of engaging in a crime or something productive, they would choose the other path. And I think we have a role to play in the prevention. Like I said, I have a role to play just as a citizen, that when I go shopping, I literally practice, I'm going to put my shopping bags in my trunk so that I don't create the opportunity of temptation for someone. So crime prevention is that we play a role to prevent harm, setting ourselves up for harm. As a woman, I'm mindful that I don't go out at night alone after certain hours unless I'm accompanied. Things like that. That's a preventive strategy that I practice. That's what I mean by a prevention, not giving opportunity.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for this time again. We're at that time now to end this segment. Anything you want to leave?
Well, yeah, I just want to always thank you for giving me this opportunity to have relationship with the community, to speak with the community. It is the holiday season that we're coming up on. I do pray that it's a blessed, peaceful, my daily prayer, my everyday prayer is that this city become so safe and prosperous, and that we can have peace. And so that's my goodbye to everyone, is that we enjoy our holiday peaceful season.
And the New Orleans United Front wanted me to thank you again for joining their town hall meeting last night.
Appreciate the invitation. I'll see you tomorrow night, Councilmember.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys. We appreciate that. When we come back, Ali King, United Healthcare, National Diabetes Month, tips for staying healthy and how to avoid diabetes, control diabetes, and level 2 program, the importance of eating healthy during the holidays, guys. You can have your cake and eat it too, but also be healthy. Dr. Wyatt?
Absolutely.
Be okay
less is more, what New Orleans is talking about.
Whose station?
Our station.
Yeah, you know it's your station. We'll be back.
Hey, this is Steve Poston. Be sure to listen to WBOK 1230 AM every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. and Sunday evening at 5 p.m., bringing you the best Southern Soul barroom music with the Southern Soul Weekend Party Mix, hosted by me, of course. I'll be playing your favorite Southern Soul music by artists from all over the South, right here on WBOK 1230 AM or online at WBOK1230.com. The station you listen to longer. Listen to longer. Listen to longer.
Good morning and happy Tuesday. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News, and here's a look at today's headlines. First up, neutral ground parking is allowed in New Orleans due to heavy rain moving through the area. Just a reminder, though, if you do park on the neutral ground, you can't block streetcar tracks, roads, or sidewalks. Parking restrictions go back into effect at noon today. Then the New Orleans Police Department is investigating a deadly shooting in Central City. Investigators say a man was shot and killed just after 4 this morning on Loyola Avenue near Harmony Street. No other information has been released at this time. And in the city's French Quarter, the New Orleans Fire Department is investigating what caused an overnight fire on Bourbon Street. Officials say the blaze sparked near the popular club Bourbon Heat. We're told that fire is now under control, and again, there is no word on a cause just yet. Finally, we are learning new information about the mass shooting that happened Sunday during the 9-time second line. Family members have identified the two men who died as 21-year-old Rayshawn Carter and 19-year-old Malachi Jackson, who were an uncle and nephew. 11 others were hurt but are in stable condition, according to police. Right now, no arrests have been made. And that's a look at today's headlines. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News. Have a great day.
NOLA Public Schools' main round enrollment for kindergarten through 12th grade is now open. With 73 schools available through the NOLA Public Schools Common Application Process, or NCAP, finding the right school fit for your family is easier than ever. List up to 12 choices to maximize your chances and apply by January 24th. We're all in, and we hope you are too. Apply today at enrollnolaps.com. That's enrollnolaps.com.
Are you passionate about community safety and police accountability? Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor, we're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Get the facts and stay informed. We're breaking down complex issues, highlighting community voices, and holding people behind the badge accountable. Join us for an informative hour every Friday at noon on WBOK. Your city, your police, your show. The Monitor's Mic.
Hi, this is Cary Grant. Let's elevate every Tuesday through Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. as we discuss the community, the country, and the world, from politics to current events and sports. We look forward to your input and continuing the quality programming on your community station, WBOK. Join us every Tuesday through Thursday, 6 to 7 p.m. on Elevated Conversations, the Arnie and Cary Show.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
Hey, and we are back. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt, and I'm in studio with the one and only Oliver O.T. Thomas.
So, Dr. Wyatt, well, first of all, back to shout out, thank you to the United Front for their meeting yesterday.
Yes.
Man. Learned a lot, appreciate it. We want to thank our guests, man. Thank Leroy Brown, man. We need to be Calvin Mackeying everybody with Sabrina Shorts, all of those great minds, right, to deal with tech.
Yes.
We need to have
Kimberly Thomas. Yes.
Kimmy with Kimmy and them. This night school concept that Kimmy has.
Absolutely dope.
It is unbelievable.
Yes.
I got a chance to really look at it a little bit. I want to take a deep dive. It ought to be standard operating procedure when you talk about our education community,
right,
and our tech and our workforce development community. So we got folk out there that are doing stuff right. But Doc, I wanted to ask you a question, right? Because you seem to have, especially as a younger person, I'm always amazed at younger people, right? Who have old souls in them, right? But who want to connect past, present, and future, right?
Right.
And when I watch you ask questions, a lot of times you're not just looking for the answer to satisfy you now.
Right.
You're looking for it to kind of, how does that make a difference in the future? First of all, where does that come from? And do you do that intentionally? Because you don't just want to know how you're going to deal with this now, but what does it mean to us moving forward?
If I could be honest with you, I'm not even sure how my brain works. It's literally in the moment. If I hear something and it takes me there, I'm going to ask the question, especially because I know there's a listening audience that doesn't have the benefit of the microphone. So if they want things to be addressed, we want to be respectful of all of our guests and make certain that they're comfortable here. But part of coming on WBOK is making certain that you bring your expertise with you. And I don't think there should be anything that's in your purview that we cannot ask, to make certain that the listening audience is informed and not misinformed too, because your questions were on point as well. Like this idea, and I'm gonna go back to my friend's comment about the responsibility that Black media has in terms of Black issues. Because if we're only going to point out the negativity, then how are we any different than mainstream media who only want to pillage from this culture and take away from it? I'm sure there's a faction of this city that wants second lines to go away altogether. And we're loading the gun, giving them the ammunition to shoot at us and put it in the name of safety. And that's all that the powers that be need, is to attach it to safety.
That's why,
it will go away.
That's why I love our conversations with you.
Yeah.
Whether we agree or not, they stoke the memory.
You don't always have to agree.
They soak the memory in the mind.
Yeah.
There was an effort to limit, or how would I say, handcuff, or in some cases to get rid of second line.
Absolutely.
Have people forgotten?
Yeah, but I think they don't know, because the generation we're talking about, they're unaware, so they can't remember something that they were never made privy to. And that's where the lack of respect and decorum comes from, because you don't understand what it took to even get us here, for us to have something of our own that we can relish in.
There was a push at one point to make it so expensive that
you could. Well, listen, let's talk about full circle. That's what I think about the tax initiatives that the governor is putting forward. And he's labeled them luxury items, right? In my mind, I believe you're just trying to price me out of doing the things that I enjoy doing, because if you're going to tax goods and services and then put it under the luxury and pretend as if I'm just making certain that the regular person can no. You have to hear the things that they don't say. You have to read the words that are not on the paper, because if I'm paying $30 for something and then you tax it, you could tax me right out of being able to afford it, right? Or you can make that the difference between the bread and the milk that I want.
Public policy.
Right. Come on now.
Policy matters.
So that's what it is. And so I want folk to be very slow in their criticism of the culture and making it synonymous with crime, because the people who are listening, who are in policy making positions, this legislative thing that they have going on right now, they're going to take that. Oh, the people in New Orleans says the second lines are not even safe. And if they don't think it's safe, then surely we should be able to do something about that, right? And this information is coming from Black-owned platforms, Black-led platforms.
So, let's go there.
Yeah,
right?
we're going to go there.
Yeah. Black Source Media, and what Think 504 does, shouldn't be the only source of accountability. The Tribune, the Weekly, Data News, right? It's important that we hear from them,
because we're not shying away from accountability. We want folks to be held accountable.
It is important, especially
but the big picture
on this matter.
Yes,
I want to know what the Tribune thinks, right, about our culture.
Yes,
and this effort to mix.
Because I'm gonna go even further. Because I'm gonna go even further.
Thinks.
What is New Orleans without its culture? You might as well go live in Shreveport, Baton Rouge, Caddo, like go live else. Because what is New Orleans without her culture?
What did Tennessee Williams say? Cleveland.
Come on now, come on now. Like you might as well. if you strip New Orleans of its culture, nothing against Cleveland, nothing against Baton Rouge, nothing against Shreveport, but we understand that there's a culture here that people flock here to see. And if you dismantle it and you strip it of its culture, you're going to strip New Orleans of her identity, and then you'll have NOLA. And that is what we're that's the direction I'm from New Orleans, and I'm going to protect her at all costs.
No pause. Lie.
I'm from New Orleans. That's way different than Louisiana.
No pause.
Yeah.
Lie.
And that's why we ought to have elected officials who understand, value, respect, and will protect the culture. That's the people we have to have. Because if we don't, we're going to open up the floodgates and we're not going to be able to keep the water at bay. That's what's going to happen here.
504-582-9422. It's been a hot topic, right? But we really haven't heard from y'all, especially about this incident where many in the press are trying to make it about. And let me say this: when I didn't try to take over the press conference yesterday, but when they tried to basically seem like, the Mother's Day shooting decades ago, the Bunny Friend shooting, and out of 9 times, I'm like, well, hold on a second, right?
Now you're piling on.
Yeah,
So did anybody list all of the happenings that go on in the French Quarter? Did anybody have a notepad with a list of those, the rapes and the shootings? Did they do that?
Dr. White, don't do that.
I'm just asking.
No.
Did they do it?
You've been a journalist, right?
Oh, we talk here, right? This talk radio. We're going to talk.
We know we love you, right? Got to be careful.
No, we're not going to be careful. We're going to be truth tellers. And the community going to take care of the truth teller.
We're journalists, right?
Yeah.
We talk.
But we could be a journalist, but is that not full? Is that not full picture? If you're going to talk about all of these incidents around the culture.
They didn't even call it when the 4 people got shot in the water. They didn't even call it
a mass. It wasn't called mass. So how many equate to mass? Do we have to get over 10?
Ooh, the lines are lit up.
What makes it mass? What makes it critical mass?
Well, we're about to end the show right now. There's a sniper. There's a sniper on the building, and he aiming at me, Doc. Line number 1, Larry. Larry, tell Dr. Wyatt chill out a little bit, man. I know you and her cool. Ask her to back up a little bit. Larry?
Now, see, Larry don't want no parts of that.
Larry,
Doctor, you know what I really like about you without patronizing you? The picture project comes out of you. That comes out, and that's the part that I really, really like. Because you know what you do? You tell it like it is.
Like a T.I.
And you be down. Look, I was 9 times. My nephew and my niece was king and queen 2016.
Yeah.
So they called me and said, Uncle Larry, you're up the family. We want you to be the Duke. So they dressed me up, and I was a Duke.
Beautiful.
I was on a float, the King's float, with my nephew. I haven't been to, I go to seconds. I was, but that's the first time I participated. They took some pictures of me, and I went national. Me coming out the place that
coming
came out. But what I'm saying is that the anniversary was 26 years. And in them 26 years, they never had an incident.
That's right.
26 years, universe. So, anniversary. So when these people on the media and elsewhere try to do a spin on it, just look at their records. I mean, these people, now we could have a few people out there, knuckleheads, that come out and just decide to want to shoot the place up, but they had thousands of people out there enjoying themselves.
Yes, they did.
I've been a part of that. So we got to really keep it, make sure. I know you guys going to have a kind of meeting, make sure that they understand that we just out there to do the cultural thing and have fun.
Appreciate you.
Thank you
Larry.
so much.
Thank you. Naren, do you want to break? Yeah, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we got Mr. James and Miss Huntrese holding 504-582-9422. It's our culture, y'all. And Dr. Wyatt. Dr. I'm had to put my hoodie on and my hat. I ain't got no dog shades when I leave here.
The night walk got your back, and that Fisher gonna hold me down. Believe
that. Larry said, "You know what I love? You know what I loved it about you, sister? That big old brain."
Algiers don't play about that.
Algiers away. WBOK 12:30 a.m.
What New Orleans is talking about?
Station?
Our station.
You know you done took that station. We back. We be back after the break.
This is your news update for WBOK 1230 AM from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
The WDSU First Warning Weather Impact Day continues this morning as heavy rain also continues. Watch out for ponding and street flooding. Rain moves out before noon, then expect a breezy day with highs in the low 80s. Near seasonal winds day with highs in the low 70s, staying dry with cooler temperatures the rest of the week. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children. The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Keep up with NOLA Public Schools through education elevation. Join Superintendent Dr. Avis Williams monthly as she shares district updates, celebrates schools, scholars, and more. Tune in every fourth Wednesday at 11:30 a.m.
Hello, I'm Gary Clark. Please tune in to Dr. Clark 101, The Living Classroom, which is broadcasted weekly every Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. on WBOK 1230 a.m. on your dial. And as always, it's been a pleasure.
Tired of the impersonal, one-size-fit-all style of banking? You deserve a bank that delivers exceptional service and personalized attention to your needs. That's the Home Bank Standard. Since 1908, Home Bank has been a trusted financial partner for businesses and families because we go the extra mile to help you reach your goals. See for yourself why Home Bank is good for business, good for life. Stop by any New Orleans area location or find out more at home24bank.com.
Charter schools, Freddie King, Hancock Whitney, Six Ward Steppers, and more for 2 NOLA Love Drive-Thru Turkey and Ham giveaways. On Tuesday, November 26th, the first giveaway begins at 9 a.m. in Algiers at Alice Hart Charter School, and the second giveaway begins at 2 p.m. in historic Treme at the Mahalia Jackson Theater. Receive a free turkey or ham and food items while supplies last. We'll see you there. Learn more at inspirenolaschools.org.
Hey everybody, it's Kimber White Dupree.
And it's Graylin Bryant Banks from the front porch. We're coming up next.
Good morning, Wake Up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK 1230 AM.
We are back, man. We got our callers holding. Now, first of all, we always look. Dr. White and I host this show, but we really ain't nothing without y'all. And
yeah.
Y'all have no idea how much we love and value y'all input, right? And it really means a lot to us. Line number 2, Miss Treese. You're on with Dr. White, no T.
Good morning, my people.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Listen, the one thing that pet peeve I have about us sometimes is sometimes we love to believe the lie. Not only believe the lie, but perpetuate the lie. And for instance, Black people gather around this city every single day of the week in high numbers without incidents happening.
Correct.
So we need to stop acting like, oh, Black people can't get together. I mean, y'all know that y'all go out all the time everywhere, all over the city, and things are not happening. So stop perpetuating that. And also, a thing I say, we can open up the nightly news on any channel and see the bad about us all the time.
Bingo.
So we don't need our black media being the ones that's all. If I look on your page or your content and all you're spewing is the negative about us, then you're not even fulfilling a need that is out there.
But look, Sharice Gibson was awesome on her own station.
Yeah.
When, her and her family were out there, that's where they're from.
Yes.
Desire. She's like, hey, hold on a second, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't be painting everybody here. You're like, this is tradition for us. I was so proud of Sharice on WWL.
I was too.
Yeah,
that was true representation right there. And I was proud of those young ladies. That is not something you usually get to see on, on actual TV, the real news. But what I was telling all of our content creators that was out there, they had beautiful pictures, they had beautiful videos all day before anything ever happened. If I looked on your page and I didn't see any of those beautiful things that was going on before the incident, as soon as the incident happened, or if I didn't see any of the beautiful things that happened in last Sunday, second line, or the Sunday before that second line, then I said that's not something you report on. So why are you reporting on it now?
Thank you.
We don't.
Okay.
Yes.
Great point. As always, you're absolutely correct. We got one more caller before we got to close out this segment, man. We just getting hot now.
No.
Mr. James, you're on with Dr. Wyatt and OT.
All I gotta say is that part. Y'all done put me on break. Y'all done stole my thunder. I was trying to check the good doctor back. Y'all done pushed me back behind arm trees who always telling facts.
Yeah.
Look, that part.
Thank you so much, James.
Have a good one.
We appreciate you, Mr. James. Well, Mr. James, ever since you checked us about
we held that L, baby.
The election, we
held that L with pride.
We be scared to go to you first. Now we like, let's let some other callers talk before Mr. James.
We love you, James. Talk. We love being held accountable. We love it.
On the news, but I also caught you on. No, I didn't just watch you at the United Front. I watched you on the news about an incident in Plaquemine. So
yes,
what's up with that?
So in 2022, I was the spokesperson for Reginald Hamilton and his family. He was one of two kids riding ATVs in Plaquemine's parish. He's a fisher hunter, so he was going to check his line. They were on the way back to New Orleans when they were approached by a deputy from Plaquemines. They were literally maybe not even 25 feet up from the bridge to bring them back, the Woodland Bridge. Mm-hmm. And the officer engaged them, to me, in a confrontational way. He approached the back of the ATV as if, and that had made the children flee. So they were trying to hurry up and get to the bridge. And then there was this all-out chase going on. They were saying things like "smoke them" over the radio. They were trying to cut them off. They were trying to push them into the ravine. But those kids knew how to ride those ATVs. Well, at the end of the incident, my kid, the kid I represented, Reginald Hamilton, he suffered a traumatic brain injury because the officer that went up on the bridge to lay the spike strips, he saw him coming. So instead of him laying the spike strips, he ran out into the middle of the bridge and extended his leg. Reginald tried to avoid his leg, and the ATV flipped. Reginald had a traumatic brain injury. The officer lost his leg. Well, in the wake of that incident, the sheriff got on the news and said that the kid, Reginald Hamilton, intentionally tried to kill his deputy by intentionally trying to run him over with the ATV. And then I came out and said, those are not the facts of this case. I would implore you to ask for the video so that you can see what actually happened. And when the media asked for the video and we got the video, it said what I said happened, that the officer put himself in the way of the ATV. The sheriff initially and the DA, the sheriff tried to get the DA to charge this child with attempted murder. That was the actual charge. And then we got some lawyers out of Baton Rouge, Ryan Thompson and Jessica Hawkins. They fought very hard for him, and he ended up with probation. We didn't want felony probation, but the alternative would have been prison from anywhere between 5 to 20 years. And he is on an 18-month home incarceration. He's already served 9 of those months. After that, he'll serve 3 years of probation, but he's home with his family. And the outcome is not all of what we wanted. He's a new father. It's not all of what we wanted, but it's better than prison. So shout out to Ryan Thompson and Jessica Hawkins and the family of Reginald Hamilton as well.
And shout out to you.
Oh, thank you.
Dr. Wyatt.
I do what I can.
Yeah, I was doing my channel. I said, man, I just saw Dr. Wyatt at the United Front. How's she here?
Yeah.
On WDSU.
I try to be where there's a need, and I want folks to understand that, most of the work that I do is for the community. It's not to enrich myself. I don't make money, didn't make any money on the Reginald Hamilton case at all. I saw an injustice and I spoke about it, and we got the outcome that led to no jail time for an 18-year-old young man who had no criminal record. They were calling him a criminal in the media. He had no criminal record, had never been arrested, which takes me to this point. The New Orleans United Front monthly meeting will be December 16th. Bring your wish list for 2025. It will be at Cafe Istanbul. So if you want to, whatever you want to see in 2025, a more peaceful city, protection of the culture, better jobs, better housing.
Talk about what you want to see.
Put your wish list together and come over to the New Orleans United Front, December 16th, Cafe Istanbul. And I also want to shout out Trinice Ennis. I saw her sister at the Martin Luther King meeting. She said, Dr. Wyatt, I just have to tell you, my sister loves you. So I'm right here saying I love you back, girl. Trinice Ennis, she's a faithful listener of WBOK.
Well, we love you, Dr. Wyatt. we love WBOK. We love everybody out there, man. And we appreciate your advocacy with a purpose.
Yes.
And y'all think about that. Your advocacy with a purpose.
And I also thank the people who have consistently supported me. It's not easy to support a person like me publicly because of the things people attach to me and say about me. And so I don't take for granted the people who very proudly say my name in rooms that I'm not, my character in rooms that I'm not in. And so I want to thank anybody, if you've ever, since the beginning of me, supported me, I thank you for it. I want to thank WBOK as well for the opportunity to be on this mic every morning and to host with you, OT. So thank you for that. Appreciate y'all.
Hey, no doubt about it. This is the season, right? There's a whole lot going on. Let's not forget about the meeting tomorrow at 5 o'clock. I'm going to host a meeting with law enforcement, with our Culture Bears, with our second line groups to talk about how do we move forward, right? How do we establish some rules of engagement? How do we protect our people? And more importantly, how do we continue out and to honor our tradition?
Absolutely. The culture is New Orleans, and New Orleans is the culture. Protected at all costs.
And Sharice Gibson, we were
Shout out to Sharice.
So proud of you for defending where you come. Hey, look, you can be from the Fisher, you can be from Desire, you can be from the Lower Nine, and still be all of that in the bag of chips.
And the evidence is
and
there.
Not apologize for it.
The evidence is there, yes.
WBOK 12:30 a.m.
What New Orleans is always talking about.
But on the front porch, they talking about.
Up next is Grilling and Kimber.
Whose station?
Our station.
You know you done took it over. It's your station. Have a great day, guys.
See y'all tomorrow.